Hello and welcome to Let's Program with Santier, and today we're going to continue working on the task tracker program. I'm Santier, by the way. So there's a couple of things that I did in between episodes to try to figure out what was going on. It turns out I was a complete idiot and forgot to make this public. So that made this not work at all. Making it public has solved its not showing up issue. I don't know if there's going to be any other problems I'm going to run into, but I just wanted to mention that. Also, I found that if I just gave the application executable path to this file name, then the standalone browser will indeed have the task tracker icon. So that's really cool. Wanted to let you know about that. Now, because I have been able to find this thing now, that means I should be able to go right here and go hotkeys .hotkey message ID and hotkeys hotkey pressed M and have that hopefully work. So that, is simplified, as in it exists now. And the other thing is I should be able to go in here and Control-Shift-R. Let's just add another using directive up here. D# hotkeys. And here, and then this should be Control-Shift, because I want all of them, and you don't put parentheses on there. Control-Shift again. Okay. So basically, you know what that was supposed to look like. So let's just quickly test those. So if I run it, once it pops up here, and I hit those, hey, it popped this up. If I close that even, random, here's a random task. If I do T, it brings the thing right up, right where I want it. So those global hotkeys are now functioning, so that's really exciting. I'm glad to have that working. I feel very silly, but, that's life. That's life. If anybody was screaming at me in the comment section, I apologize for your consternation. Anyway, those things are working now. I do have this resurrect window. I just want to double check. Yeah, bring to front. It's very important to bring to front. I've talked a couple times about my program right here. It has a global hotkey to do the same thing, to pop it up. And the problem is I don't have bring to front on that. I'm planning on editing it at some point in time, probably pretty soon here, because I had to open up the project to hunt down how I did the global hotkeys in the first place thing. And so I'm going to want to add bring to front on that, because I've done the thing where it's just like, okay, I've opened the window. It's behind your current window, so you can't see it, but I've opened it. I was like, well, I wanted you to actually be visible. So that's just me just kind of randomly talking. I closed a few extra tabs in between episodes, by the way, for stuff that I just didn't need open. But now I have a means of doing global hotkey stuff. So that's really cool. I don't need that open anymore either. So now we have the URL. Ideally. So there's several more things that I want to add. So there's going to be a couple more linked behaviors that I'm going to want to add, but most of this episode is going to be adding task modules. So let's go ahead and make the next one. I'm going to just call this one open file. And it's going to be very similar to this guy, actually. TM URL task module ITM linked behavior. And it's even going to have like, so region overrides end region, public string name, public string file path. Now, I'm probably going to make the actual I don't need that open. I don't need that open right now. Did I call this URL? My goodness. Open file. I don't know what came over me. Case module type open file, return new tm open file. I need to add that there. This does not need in standalone browser sort of stuff. So let's just go ahead and start our override train with ID return dot open file. I'm just going to leave this enormous because I can hit the minimize button. Override. Let's see. On completion, do nothing. Actually, I should just make. Where's on completion? Instead of abstract, I should just make this virtual parentheses like this, because it doesn't actually complete, like, not, I don't need it all the time. Like right here, I legitimately do not need on completion. So if it's abstract, it has to be added. When I make it virtual like this, it can be, but if it's not, then it'll just use this one. So that's the significant difference between the two. And because on completion is something that, like, this also legitimately doesn't care about on completion. It doesn't do anything when the thing's marked complete. What does something is like the due date. And there'll be others that will probably need to do something, but this decidedly does not. So we're not going to worry about that one. We are going to worry about toString. This is just going to return open file plus name. If you start writing override, you can then pick your thing. Archive, override, read, override, write. Okay, these are all fairly straightforward. Write, output.write name, and output.write file path. Input.read, all right, name equals input.read string, file path equals input.read string. Archive is just gonna string tabs equals depth.toTabs. Output.write line. Name plus close name. And I just need to add tabs to the front like so. And then output write line tabs plus file path plus close file path. Like so. This is pretty straightforward. Okay. Let's see. So this is all of the things here. I also need to add a public void on click, and just go over to here. I need to add dot open file because it's one of the ones that goes into this behavior, not this behavior. And on click is just very simply going to run dot open file file path. So it's going to do that. Very straightforward on that front. Now the bit that's going to become complicated is over here. So we're going to add a user control. It's not going to become very complicated. It's just going to become a little bit more complicated. We're just going to call this open file because that's, you know, we're being very creative in our naming. And down here, dot open file equals new open file tm open file module break. Now this is going to need code that accepts a tm open file. Owning open file. I know I didn't put an N in owning, but we'll fix that now. Open file owner. And of course, the good old internal interface coming first is really obnoxious, actually. So this is going to be fairly straightforward. There's just a few complications. So I'm going to need a couple of labels, a couple of text boxes, a button. Yeah, getting all novel here on us, right? And an open file dialog. Open file dialog. So we're going to call this select file dialog. Default extension is none. Let's see. All files star.star is our filter. No particular initial directory in mind, and this is just going to say select a file. And then we need a pair of those. So this first one is going to be file name. This, title this right there. Boom. We'll kind of extend that there, and then we're just gonna add a little bit longer, and this one's just gonna be name, and this button is going to be browse button, but instead of like writing browse or something, it's just gonna be ... And we're gonna just toss it right here. So on this button, we're gonna go this dot show dialog, and on file OK, we're going to set. Did I not name? Hold on. Did I name this? No. Did I name this? No. We'll just call this file path. We're going to take file path dot text equals to select file dialog dot file name. Okay. So that's just going to kind of fill it in for us, so we can use that to find the file. Now we're just going to go ahead and fill in our default information. So name dot text equals owner dot name. File path dot text equals owner dot file path, and then name dot text changed, and file path dot text changed. So note the reason why I don't need to do anything here is because this changes that, which we'll call this, which will set the information. And this is kind of like, I'm excited about getting this stuff in because it'll make this thing more and more functional, but it is definitely not the like sexy part of coding, shall we say. This is kind of the workforce, the brute force, just kind of the working part of it. So this will allow us to be able to do an open file. So if I go ahead and run this, it will eventually load, and we can go to, like, say, second task and say, hey, I want an open file. So one of the things I just noticed right away is I want to change how that works, but this is something that I'll test later. I'm just going to say none right now. If I click that right now, I'm pretty sure it would do something weird. So I'm not going to. Oh. Oh, because that's just straight null. Okay, cool. I'm going to need to make sure I purge that file. So this should make sure you have some defaults on this, so that way that doesn't explode. So that's just a good thing to be aware of, apparently. Let's see. So I bet this is going to have a load error, most likely, because that got cut off partway through. So I'm not sure how I want to go about solving that. I'll worry about that in a moment. I was just thinking of something that I was like, that would be a good idea to do. What was it? I don't remember. Oh, right. Now I remember. Going up here and putting an underscore in this. Let's rename underscore apply. Okay, so when I do it like that, it should like update this to be correct and all that jazz. Okay, so the next sort of thing that I'm going to want to do is add another thing in a similar vein to this, open directory. Ask module itm linked behavior. And then public string name. I'm going to just have this be like this, public string directory equals environment dot get folder path dot desktop. Just because I need some sort of default there. Region overrides end region. Okay, let's start doing our thing. So let's go ahead and add open directory. This open directory return new tm open directory. So you'll notice that there's been a lot of work to like set stuff up that's kind of now paying off, because a lot of the stuff is able to kind of, relatively speaking, go pretty quickly. Return open directory plus name. What? Not name of, just name. I don't care about on completion. Okay, output dot write name. Output dot write directory. Now there's something that I'm going to have to figure out if I want to do, which is I'm planning on adding a notes category. And the question is, how do I want to handle notes? So I'm not 100% sure just yet. I mean, the code portion on the back end is really easy, but input dot read string directory equals input dot read string. Of course, I need a public void on click for their interface. And this is going to do our typical like string tabs equal depth dot to. Wow, that is not even close to correct. 2 tabs. Output dot right line tabs plus, I remembered it this time, name plus close name. There's just like so many little things to remember when you're doing this sort of business. I'm going to say path instead of name. But there, I'm just going to grab directory. Okay, so this end of things is set up. This needs to go dot run dot, let's see, open directory. So this will allow you to be able to give a special folder or just a path. So we're just going to give it directory. So that's what I need to set up on this end. Right here, I just need to go case.open directory and just add it to the chain of things that go into this particular bit of behavior. Now, the task edit form is just going to need a new user control for open directory. The reason why I'm uncertain about notes is the question that I have fundamentally with it is, do I want you to be able to open notes? Let's see, directory searcher. No, I don't need a component. I need a dialog. Folder browser dialog. Or do I want to, do I basically want you to have to write the notes inside this thing? Or do I want you to be able to like write the notes inside the display? And I think I want to make you write the notes inside this thing. And then I need a button. And this will be our browse button with our trusty 3 dots. This is going to be select folder dialog. And I'm going to change the root from desktop to my computer. Is it called my computer? My computer. That's a holdover. Shrink that down. Directory name directory. We're gonna stick this together. So and then stick this here like so. And this will simply read name. Okay. And we can go into here to the code. Standard fare, open directory, owner, tm open directory, owning dir. I'm just going to call it that. Good old internal owner equal owning dir. Name.text equal owner.name. Directory.text equals owner.directory. Name.text changed. And directory.text changed. Note that I'm putting these after the spot where I set them, so that way I'm not recalling them. So that's kind of something that's very useful and important to do. And then I just need to make this button do stuff. The thing about the dialog. So actually, what I need to do right here is if owner. Actually, no. If directory.text So I'm going to go system.io.directory.exists this. No, not that. Select folder dialog dot selected path equals directory.text. So basically, it will always start you in the spot that you've typed in. Is the idea here? If this, so these work a little bit differently. You want to check them like this. They don't have the same file OK event that the other type of thing has. So that's just a thing to be aware of. So if that's okay, then directory.text equals select folder dialog dot selected path. That should set this guy up. And I should just be able to go in here. Dot open directory c equals new open direct open. What did I call it? Did I put it? Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. Well, this is going to be a search view. Search view. Wow. Search view dot open directory. I don't know how I ended up doing that, but search view should be closed. TM open directory module break. I made a boo-boo. Okay. So build this. Now I'm anticipating when I try to run this that it will crash because, yeah, this file got malformed. So what I'm going to actually do is something that's probably a good idea. If this exists, I'm going to go ahead and put this in a try catch block. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. Try catch. There's one more thing. Exception error. Message box dot show the following error occurred or occurred. I'm not sure on this one. Obviously you can see I was trying to find some stuff. And this is basically where I found the thing that I needed to like explicitly mark it public. Occurred. Yeah, occurred spelling. Is occurred. Common misspellings of the word are okay. So it does have 2 C's and 2 R's. So that's good to know. The following error occurred during file reading. Plus environment.newline plus environment.newline. This is going to get kind of long, so I'm going to break it up into multiple lines. Error.message plus environment.newline plus environment.newline plus do you want to continue? Comma task tracker load error. Yes, no, error. Yes, that is. So if that is equal to dialog. Actually, no. We're going to do this a little bit differently. Dialog result error handling equals that. There. This is slightly hideous, but let's go ahead and move that into in front of there. Okay. So if that is the case, now there should be like a result always. Let's see. Let's just go here. Try catch C#. Because C# does this a bit differently. Finally, it's called finally. Finally. Input.close. Now, I want to actually go ahead and open the by using a finally block, you can clean up any resources that are created in a try block, and you can run code even if exception occurs in the try block. Finally block run when control leaves a try statement. The transfer of control can occur as a result of normal execution. When within a handled exception, the associated finally block is guaranteed to be run. However, if the exception is unhandled, the finally block is dependent on how the exception unwind operation. Okay, usually when unhandled exception. Okay. Finally, if file does not equal null, file.close. Yeah. That's a good idea. So that should close it either way. Right? I think that should close it either way. Like finally, well, we can add a thing here to just check that. If input does not equal null, there, I don't know, input.close. Okay, so this is going to, if error handling is equal to dialog result dot okay, or not okay, dot yes, we want to continue. Then what we want to do right here is we want to clear all categories. So category.allCategories.clear and task.allTasks.clear. So that just clear everything out. Else application dot else return. Okay. So I'm just gonna actually add this right here just to make sure. And then input equals null, just to make sure we don't try to close an already closed thing or whatever. Do you want to continue? No. It ends. That's good. Do you want to continue? Yes. Does it? Okay, so that loads us up with nothing, which is fine. Yep, we want a new task, testbed. So hopefully that error handling never has to come about, but it's really good to add that sort of thing, especially if you run into it. It's extraordinarily unlikely to occur for an ordinary user to have a corrupted file. And I should probably expand the error warning message before the yes. But now we can go into this. We can add open file. We can add open directory, which will open the desktop. And we can now see those things. That won't work or whatever, but okay, so that should hopefully now read properly because it didn't crash in loading. Do you want to continue? During file reading, file is like save file is likely corrupted. You want to continue? Warning, continuing will wipe all saved information. Okay, so I just want to be really explicit on that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add an environment.newline here. Just to be very clear that like that's what's going on. This is what's happening. Anyway, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for me, at least for now. Until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.